show a sign of a shift, of a change that probably started sometime 3, 4 years ago, thanks to a social media personality, that being Charleston White. Uh, he came out a few years ago, doing all the answers and stuff he was doing and saying the wild stuff he was saying, mixing it in with some truth. But one of the things he said that stuck with a lot of people, particularly in hip hop, was the snitching stuff. He went against the whole culture that has existed in hip hop for the last 20, 25, 30 years even, about being against the idea of snitching. Now, we know snitching is when a person who commits a crime with his co-defendant, and in order to get out of trouble, he tells on his co-defendant. That's snitching. A civilian can't snitch. A regular person, minding their business, paying taxes, working, cannot be a snitch. But Young Thug seemingly addressed his online backlash after jail calls leak, bashing me only going to F that rap community up more. So Young Thug, the rapper out of Atlanta, who's been dealing with a RICO charge the last couple of years, he finally was able to quote unquote beat the case, but he kind of didn't. He's in house arrest for the next decade or whatever. And it's clearly an effort by someone who wants to destroy his his image, his presence that he has across music, to turn people against him. This started with a call leak. They started leaking these calls a week ago maybe, and it seemed like every day now a new leak came out. A new leak came out today even. So every day there's a leak coming out of this rapper who seemed to have been well liked and respected around the industry, by most people at least. I've seen everybody big him up. He's now has a call dissing every last one of them almost. And keep in mind, I will say this: these are private calls that he was having. Yeah, we know that when you're in jail, they tell you this call can be recorded. He didn't care. He's facing a RICO, life in prison. He don't know if he's getting out. He's frustrated, going through a lot of mental anguish. He just letting the clip ring with anybody on the phone, whether it's his girl, his homies. He's giving raw, unfiltered opinions. Some of them may be stuff he don't really believe, but he's in a moment, he's just angry at the world. He's going through a lot of stuff. He's just saying things. But that's besides the point. Along with all this talk around him is people acknowledging, or at least starting to connect this to what they deem to be the fall of Atlanta, it's at least in the music industry, entertainment industry, and how maybe them being the center of Black America in the entertainment sphere may be coming to an end, particularly with music. We'll stick to the hip hop side of it. Or there may be a shift in who will be somebody respected from Atlanta. It's been Metro, Future, Young Thug, Lil Baby, 21 Savage. I still don't understand how he became an actual respected rapper, but it is what it is. So let's get into it, right? In the first leaks that I saw, or at least the ones that became a real trending topic, was when he spoke on his jail phone, when he spoke on another rapper and Kendrick Lamar. And he had these comments. I want to play what he said. I'm pretty sure y'all, if y'all care about it, y'all already heard it. And I'm going to speak on it afterward. Not going to play the whole thing, just some of it, obviously.
With the racks, with Kendrick. Future grocery bag. Say again?
I hope he do it.
So do I. I mean, well, even if you don't get...
He don't take no money, do he?
No. He wouldn't do that.
Now, they're on the phone. This is Young Thug on the phone with one of the people in his crew trying to get a feature from Kendrick for his album Business is Business a few years ago while he was in jail. And you notice he asked him, I hope he do it, does he take money? And he said no. And I got to admit, this phone call kind of made Kendrick seem even more solid that he doesn't take money for features. But anyway, he has to actually want to do the song.
I mean, well, even if you don't get...
He don't take no money, do he?
No. He wouldn't do that. Just think about it. He does so few verses. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's not just doing verses. Like,
right. But
the only other person that gets a Kendrick verse is Baby King, and that's his cousin or his nephew or something.
Right. all the damn verses to this nigga, man. What the hell you doing, crazy?
Give it on the versus his nigga.
All that fake, I ain't getting on no rapper song shit. I don't be liking them type nigga like that.
Why?
These niggas get too big. I don't want to do no feature. Why? Why you don't want to do no feature? Why when you want to do a feature for a superstar? Like you ain't like goddamn Street calling you for a song. You know, like
Yeah.
you really got Lil Durk calling you for a song. Lil Baby, Thug, real superstar calling you for a song. Why wouldn't you do the song? We lit, nigga. We going number 1 too. Fuck you thinking? You know, it's just like I don't be understanding that type of shit. Supposed to be a nigga who bless a nigga. That's why them niggas will never be bigger than Drake ever in life. Niggas will never be bigger than Buddy. Buddy gonna do it right. Buddy fuck with everybody. You know how many niggas like Drake change? How many niggas can take care of their family because of Buddy?
And this is the problem. I'm gonna be pausing some of them. I'm not gonna play all these clips because it's a whole bunch of clips. But he's making the point that the reason why Kendrick won't be, and shout out shout out Kiefer. He's making the point that Kendrick should be doing features with Lil Baby and Young Durk and him because they do numbers too. These ain't no little rappers asking you for a feature, and that's why none of y'all will be big as Drake because Drake get on the song with anybody. He'll get on the song with anybody and help anybody. Yeah, it's definitely funny. I ain't gonna lie, this conversation was really funny. All the conversation releasing is funny. Even when they had a conversation about him and his girl was talking about Glorilla, and he called a woman ugly, and he wouldn't even date her. And then, now the leak is out, and she responded, and he apologized for it. Dude is funny. And shout out to Glasses Malone, because I ain't gotta act like put this in sequence. This stuff is kind of it's happening in real time at this point. Glasses Malone, I feel like earlier today or yesterday, Glasses Malone says something that made me look at this whole situation different. Because everybody's of the same mind, like, damn, somebody releasing these calls trying to destroy Buddy, trying to really hurt him, his public image, trying to make him look like a lame, just gossiping and talking crazy about people on the phone with his girl and with his homies. He two-faced, yada, yada, yada. But Glasses Malone, he was like, this dude might be a genius. And that's when I started thinking, is he the one leaking this? I'm not going to say he's leaking it, should I say. But should I say, is he going to be smart enough? Because he called Future dumb. I'm going to get to that later. Is he going to be smart enough to turn these leaks into a better rollout for his album that's coming? We'll see. But anyway, back to this. He said Drake does features with everybody. That's why he's going to be the biggest. That's why people fuck with him. And I immediately thought, that's what's wrong with the culture. Atlanta, for a long time, they're the ones that helped put Southern hip hop on the map, thanks to Outkast. And he talked junk about Andre 3K too. We'll get to that. They helped the Goody Mob. Not Goody Mob, Dungeon Family, all them. The Southern rappers out of Texas, people out of Memphis area, obviously in the late 90s, early mid 90s, all the way through the 2000s, obviously. They helped put Southern hip hop on the map and take it over. But there was a sense of unity that existed, where even if there was beefs, nobody did things publicly. As people keep saying, that Atlanta or the South in general has been able to keep their beefs private, outside of the T.I. and Flip situation, whatever. But because you allow people to come in, and because they do songs with you and help you make money, you don't care about their intentions. I'm using this as to compare to what he doesn't care about whether you like Drake's music or not, whether you think he's a culture or a culture vulture, or his father's being from Memphis and he's stamped in this, he's true to this, he's a student of the game. Whatever your opinion of him is, the way he moves is clear. He doesn't always do things that's the best intention for the culture or the genre in general. So the fact that you're willing to dismiss that because he'll do a song with me, you don't care about actually doing a song with someone you like and vibe with, have a sense of y'all have a certain agreements on just life. As long as you do a song with me and I could do numbers and make money, we cool. And that's kind of the biggest problem. And it helped erase the regional sound. When you allow a person like Drake to come in and do a feature on Migos, or he does a song with Thug and their sound, and now that song is popular, but now people in the other regions who want to be popular are doing your sound. So no one's being regional until the last year or so. People weren't being regional anymore. Everybody was trying to do the same sound to get popping, to get lit on the internet, get a song that go viral, make some money, and move on to content creation. So this is a point that he's made that is showing why things have looked the way they have the last 10, 15 years.
Just like straight fucking with you. Kendrick, goddamn, put a nigga on. Y'all niggas, you're a superstar. You don't ran up you a few hundred M, but you ain't put nobody on though. You see what I'm saying? You ain't even put Keem on. Cause the shit you and him doing, this shit ain't really doing that.
Right.
Put somebody on. It's okay to run you a few hundred M's up, but who you help though? You ain't really help nobody. It's the saying.
That was the main point that he made in this. And I want to say, I can't say I disagree with what he's saying about who you do features with. Like that last album with Gen X, I would have liked that album even better. And I love that album. I wish he didn't have that gunplay dude on there, that Mexican dude. Now I know it puts him in a West Coast sound or whatever, but I don't mind you doing music with other black people, platforming other people from other regions. Now, if you want to stick West Coast and do your sound, cool, but yeah. And I get what he was saying, talking about Thug, when he said, do a song with Lil Baby, do a song with, what's his name, Moneybagg Yo and Lil Durk. I understand what Future is actually saying there. Because when you look at, there was a chart or a map that came out a little while ago where they showed who the listeners are of each rapper. And it showed Future's audience is in the South. His audience is in the South. That's who listen to Future the most, people in the South. And then it showed J. Cole, his audience was more East Coast, but had some Southern and a little bit of West Coast, yada, yada, yada. And then it showed Kendrick, it was West Coast, a little bit of South, a little bit of East Coast. And it's like, I can see Future looking at it like, just because we don't do the lyrical miracle rap or the conscious rap that people would deem to be what Kendrick is, that don't mean you can't do features with certain people. I would like it if he did and spread it around a little bit more, not to put people on, but just some people, for instance, him doing songs with Kodak Black, regardless of what you think about who he is outside of music, with the stuff he's accused of, or the music you hear typically in the mainstream, every time he's gotten on a song with Kendrick, he says some deep stuff. So I don't know if that's the actual him or if he only does that with Kendrick. I even went back and listened to some old Kodak Black music, and he was rapping like a backpack, conscious rapper. And he kind of turned into what he is now. But when you rap with different people, it shows other sides of you that I would appreciate that happening more. But anyway, let me go to the next part. The next point. So that's the point here. Don't put nobody on, work with people. Now, unfortunately, this turned into people looking at Thug like he's entitled, because he did the same thing when he spoke about Andre 3000 and J. Cole, where he accused them of not really helping nobody, anybody really trying to hear that, yada, yada, yada. And he said, who did Andre 3000 put on? Let me play a little bit. I'm not gonna play the whole thing because I think it's a little too long. It's not that long. Let me play this.
You one of the biggest artists in the world. You became one of the biggest artists in the world. But you ain't helped nobody. You ain't put nobody on. Now you vintage. Now you goddamn can't put out a song and go top 50. You see what I'm saying? You put a song out right now, you can't even go top 50. But you the biggest artist in the entire world at one point. But you ain't put nobody on though. You ain't did that. Ain't no nigga saying they got a career off of you. Like, y'all nigga ain't help nobody. All that rap shit don't mean nothing, man. In 15 years, that shit don't mean nothing.
The rap stuff don't mean nothing. I guess he's saying it's about the money. Now, this is Andre 3000 he's speaking on. And Andre 3000, along with Big Boy, because we can't forget Big Boy's importance to Outkast, had this legendary moment right here. Let me show this. That single-handedly had one of the biggest impacts in hip-hop history right here.
Them closed-minded folks, you know what I'm saying? It's like we got a demo tape and don't nobody want to hear it, but it's like this, the South got something to say. That's all I got to say.
That moment right there, dramatically changed hip-hop and what it ended up leading to, what ended up happening afterwards. I can make an argument, not by themselves. I can make an argument that Outkast did 60 to 70% of the work to put the entire South on. I can make that argument. So to say that nobody can say they built a career off of 3K or Outkast in general is crazy. All because he don't want to do a song with you. And this is not new. I heard this from Young Thug when he did the podcast with T.I. Years ago. That's why I was surprised when people was going in on him for saying stuff about Andre 3000. He said this publicly in an interview. He said it. He said how he said. He said Elton John like to kiss asses. Andre 3000 like his ass kissed. He don't want to help nobody. He said that in front of T.I. on his podcast. So, and he did same thing with Lil Wayne when Lil Wayne didn't want to give him a feature, and allegedly a bus got shot up. We're gonna say that's allegedly. A bus got shot up and a whole bunch of other stuff happened behind the scenes, yada yada yada, when he didn't want to work with Young Thug. So Young Thug has shown that he has this sense of entitlement in the industry where if you don't work with him, he gets angry and lashes out. Because 3 Stacks didn't want to work with you like that. And keep in mind, 3 Stacks bigged him up when everybody was going in on Young Thug for wearing the dresses and all that other stuff, calling his friends, what'd you call him, husband or some crazy stuff, where he was trying to get attention by saying wild stuff. It was 3 Stacks, one of the people that came out and defended him, and saying that it was just him expressing himself or some junk, saying how I got the same critique back in 2004 and stuff. So that's kind of crazy. Andre 3000 is the reason why Young Thug can do what he did 10 years ago. The reason why you could be a nigga from Atlanta wearing dresses and stuff and all, it's because 3 Stacks was doing not stuff as far as Thug. He didn't go as far as Thug did. But the reason why you is because he was him. Just because you copied a lot of your music tapes from Lil Wayne, it's Lil Wayne get his stuff from he get that from the way he get a lot of that from 3 Stacks. So there's a tree there that if you look at the Andre 3000 tree, it includes the Lil Waynes, the Kendricks, it includes you. It includes all these other. A lot of y'all come from him. It ain't all just Kanye West and Lil Wayne y'all copying. But anyway, Virginia said just from clips here and there, Andre 3000 doesn't seem like he wanted to be associated nor connected to much of Hollywood. So why would he put somebody else in the devil's house? Agreed. When you had that song where he said, "Why do we shoot to be stars? This is Dodge comments." You know, comments. He wanted away from it. I remember the last time Outkast worked together on tour, they had a big tour plan. And they started the tour, and at some point 3 Stacks decided, I don't want to do the tour. And they stopped the tour, they ended it. And then 3 Stacks years later on the song with T.I., he apologized saying, I'm sorry, I'm weird, yada yada yada. I just didn't want the fame no more. I didn't want to be those expectations constantly being on me and just constantly being in front of the camera and stuff. I wanted to rap. I just wanted to rap. I didn't want everything else. Dre said, you got CeeLo Green, Killer Mike, Sleepy Brown. They got put on by 3 Stacks. Exactly. And I don't want to give credit to people who may have already been bubbling. Because what's the difference between putting somebody on and co-signing? There's a difference. Like Drake does a lot of co-signing. He doesn't really putting somebody on. To me, it's really what producers do, label heads do. That's how you put somebody on. Or if you sign somebody to your label, that's putting somebody on. Co-signing is this person got a hot track, it's starting to bubble, and I get on the track with them. Or in the interview, I shout them out. That's co-signing. People co-sign all the time, but what is their intentions? Drake getting on the track with you, is it because he actually fuck with you, or is it because you a new style that people are listening to, another trend that he can hop on, and then years later going about his business? Dre said Andre 3000 was the real first weird dude in hip hop. He opened the door for a lot of people. Exactly. And now, whether we think that's a positive or a negative thing is a whole nother conversation. Because now we get Lil Uzis, we get the Yachties, obviously the Young Thugs. These people exist because people like 3 Stacks and even a little bit of Kanye with his music style. It's because those guys were so great at what they did. We look past the stuff they were doing. We look past 3 Stacks wearing the kilt or the skirt, whatever you want to call it, because hey, when he dropped that 16, it's gonna be the hardest verse you heard this year. You know what I mean? Now you get the extremes of, like I said, the Uzi Verts and all those dudes that just going off the deep end. But you know, it is what it is. But also with J. Cole actually got a song with him, a big song with him, where he washed him on the song. But to say that he ain't helping no, but the J. Cole signed, he got Jid, a nigga from Atlanta that he helped put on. Like, what are you talking about? But anyway, once again, the entitlement. But the question got to be asked, if Atlanta becomes uncool, because unfortunately that's still a big deal in hip hop. Being cool and uncool will determine whether or not somebody will listen to your music or not. If Atlanta becomes uncool in the music scene, what happens? What happens? Do we need a hit record? I've seen people having this conversation, hit records in hip hop for black culture to still support it. Because we see people starting to linger and going to other genres a little bit, like country music. R&B is starting to get a little bit more buzz again. Maybe that's just for now. Hopefully it keeps growing. Will hip hop fall to more of the back burner a little bit? I don't know. If Atlanta is no longer at the head of hip hop, what happens? Does anybody take over, or does it go back to just being regional? Do we get rid of the idea of the megastar existing in hip hop ever again? We will not get any more of these people. Or are they just now content creators or influencers at this point? We'll see. I want to play this too. Let me play this right here. Let me play this. The one person he made sure to defend on that phone call was NBA YoungBoy, which I found funny, but yeah.
Like what is
why be the biggest artist in the world on YouTube? Why wouldn't J. Cole do a song with him?
That's true.
Like, come on, bro. You ain't never in your life sold more record than this boy, this young nigga. Fuck is you thinking? Like, tripping.
I'm pretty sure J. Cole has definitely sold more records than NBA YoungBoy. But Virginia says, good R&B is having a comeback next to gospel. It is the healing music of American blacks and anybody else listening. Yeah, I believe that too. It also could be that a lot of the Gen Z, they're in a very retro mindset right now. So they're going back to the early 2000s, late 90s to listen to music and dress that way. So it could just be the young kids getting involved in the things that, you know, the millennials were doing. Because unfortunately, the Gen Z don't have stars. They don't, when you talk about entertainment, whether it's acting, music, they don't have like real stars, not popular celebrities. So they tend to gravitate towards what we deemed to be real celebrity back in the past, which is somebody who had talent, real talent. It wasn't necessarily about being able to, you know, have a conversation or whatever and have people and go viral. It was about when you do something, people care, and it could because it's good art or talent is shown in this. So a lot of them are starting, you know, dress and go get the lingo and watch the movies, and now they're trying to get into the music that was being done back then. So yeah. Mark says maybe hip hop should go back to underground instead of mainstream. That I heard somebody say that too. I'm seeing people say that if Atlanta loses as the face of, because it's the most popular black entertainment sector in Black America. Outside of New York and California, obviously, but Atlanta is considered the blackest. If they lose control as the face of hip hop, there won't be any stars, and I agree, it's going to go underground again. Which when I say regional, and I'm saying like, do we want that? I see people like Mark says yes, we should go that route of letting hip hop go back to being what it's supposed to be. Hip hop is supposed to be revolutionary. It's supposed to have some level of against the system in it, but it's kind of just about money now. As Young Thug is saying on all these calls, it's just about money. But yeah.
Niggas just be on that. Oh, I don't like your music, or I ain't doing no music with you. Man, nigga don't like y'all nigga music neither. Nigga don't really like that shit you talking about. That shit y'all niggas about. Nigga just want to do songs. Nigga just want, like, it's the game we in. Like, it ain't no, the Atlanta Falcons ain't playing Miami Dolphins because they don't like the Dolphins. Man, we playing everybody. It's the sport we in.
Right.
So he's saying here that J. Cole should do a song with NBA YoungBoy because, you know, a couple years ago there was some alleged tiff between them. He said, doesn't matter what you want to hear or don't want to hear or don't respect. You should do music for everybody because everybody listens to all this stuff. So once again, he's putting money over art. It don't matter if you don't co-sign his lyrics or co-sign his sound or his messaging. You should work with him because it'll make money. It doesn't matter.
Andre 3000, you one of the biggest artists in the world. You became one of the biggest artists.
We just heard what he had to say in the other one. So, Yeah, that's led to a lot of people talking about, like I said, the downfall of Atlanta being the phase. They're calling it Ratlanta because of all the allegations against them and the back and forth they had with QC, label heads talking crazy, going back and forth on social media. Didn't think that I would see it go out like this. I've been saying for like 2 or 3 years that sound has become stale. That copying that Atlanta sound isn't working. We saw Metro Boomin come out with an album, super futuristic summer, whatever it's called, more regional sound. So people are trying to go back to what they know. Obviously, we saw it with Kendrick with GNX and what came out after that with all the West Coast people. And even Joey Badass did it with his album where he went more New York sounding. It sounded like, I think, Brooklyn, whatever. I feel like Texas, Midwest have always kept their sound. Like Texas is always going to chop and screw your song, bro. So Texas is always able to stick to who they are. Same thing with places like Florida. But I feel like Atlanta has so much impact on like most of the South and a lot of the New York area, West Coast, Midwest. So hopefully we get back to being able to put your culture in your music, your regional culture. Mark says, I think it should go back to its roots. People will then know it's a Black American in origin. And that's another thing. Back to my point I was making about Charleston White. When he came out, when Young Thug first got arrested and he was defending the allegations of snitching and all the other stuff. And I've been saying, I remember when I got a shirt from a friend, maybe when I was in elementary school, maybe 3rd or 4th grade, I remember. And he had, no, I'm lying. I was in the 6th grade. Yeah, I think 6th grade. And I got a shirt from a friend. It was a shirt, I believe it was a Mano, I think it was. And a shirt said, "Stop snitching." I'm pretty sure y'all, if y'all was into hip hop at that time, y'all remember that whole thing they was doing to stop snitching. So I'm like maybe 8, 9 years old wearing a Stop Snitching shirt to school. And the teacher looked at me and said, "Where did you get that shirt from?" And my friend who had one, I'm like, "We wearing this shirt. He got it for me." She was like, "Why are y'all wearing that?" Like she was so, I didn't realize her confusion because it was like, it's just a shirt. But now that I'm older, why are we at that age pushing that type of messaging is crazy. So Charleston White comes along, he goes viral saying, well, if Young Thug did what he did, he should be in jail. And I agree with that part. We tend to forget what he was accused of. By the way, we also forgot about what we saw on that laptop screen in that courtroom with those naked men. Was that photoshopped or was that real? Because people just forgot about that being the thing, but that's besides the point. But Charleston White, I feel like when he pushed that messaging, it actually helped Gunna when he got out. People liked the music, but also defended, hey man, he ain't no street dude. He just want to make music. Let him out. They defended him. So now Thug has been accused of certain things and they're holding him to the fire. So are we possibly seeing street culture get ripped away from hip hop as well? Even though that's kind of tough because you look at the first rappers in the 80s and the 70s, 80s, they were being funded by local drug dealers and stuff. They were being funded by street dudes. The labels were being funded by street dudes. So is it possible for us to separate street culture? When I say street culture, I don't mean hood. I don't mean, the neighborhood hood. I mean street, like criminality. Is it possible for us to truly separate that from hip hop? I think we're gonna see it in the next coming years. But there was another clip I don't really care about where he talked about Drake and Metro Boomin beef coming from Drake wanting a song for Metro Boomin, but his mama had passed from a murder. Drake waited 3 weeks and started kind of hounding him to be on the album, and it kind of made them fall out, which is something that Joe Budden said last year, and people said he was a liar, but But that's a whole nother, that's some internal stuff, whatever. But yeah, we'll see what comes of this, because this might just be a rollout for his album. I see Young Thug got an interview coming. It's gonna be viral because people gonna want to hear what he got to say. And Young Thug, especially on them phone calls, is funny. Just the way he's one of those dudes that's funny without being funny because of the way he talking stuff. So it's gonna do numbers and stuff. People are gonna want to hear it. So we'll see if this turns into just a Clips are clips like a rollout for his album where it leads to great numbers for him, or if this leads to a possible downfall. We'll see.